Hello. 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 I don't know what that was. Welcome to the Poetry Boss podcast with Tola Makonjola. How are you? Are you doing well? Are you suffering? If you're not doing so well, then most people aren't. So we're all in this together. So let's hold on tight to one another. Um, I've been thinking about this for like 3 minutes, so not too long. I think what I'd like to do is vanish, disappear. I mean, really, what is this all about? You work hard, you eat, you sleep, you do it all over again. You set goals, you socialize. Boring. Um, I'd love to vanish. I'd love to vanish actually. Um, Not die. That's too morbid, and I'm not. I'd have an existential crisis going on in my mind at all. I just feel like if God said, "All right, boom, you gotta go," like vanish literally, so that even those who love me go, "Oh, he just vanished. He didn't die." Then it's not depressing. It's not tragic. It's just, oh well, he's gone. He's gone. It's like, yeah, all right. Yeah, that's not so bad. Like if yeah, think about it, right? It's like if you had a chance to kind of go somewhere better, um, now why not? Why not? This place stinks. What a lovely thought. Anyway, the poem I'm gonna the poem I'm gonna read today is called "I Had a Rendezvous with Death," and that's in no way tied to what I've just said. I honestly, hand to heart, I just thought about it randomly, but I guess it does tie to what I'm about to read. This poem was written by Alan Seeger. He was born on the 22nd of June, 1888, and died on the 4th of July, 1916. He was 28 years old when he died, which is really young. How did he die? So he died of wounds, apparently. He fought in the French Foreign Legion in World War One. It's quite dramatic. Understandably, he's a poet. And I guess the dramatic irony of his poem is that it kind of came to pass, I suppose. Um, yeah, let's read it and let me see what I can do with it. So, I have a rendezvous with death. I have a rendezvous with death at some disputed barricade. When spring comes back with rustling shade and apple blossoms fill the air. I have a rendezvous with death when spring brings back blue days and fair. That's a nice. That's actually a really nice poem, even though it's obviously existential. It's like I'm gonna die and it's gonna happen on a beautiful day. It's nicely written, in my opinion. Um, it's short and sweet, prophetic in some way, which isn't very nice, but I guess we all die. Um, I like it. I like it just because it sounds sweet, even though it's bitter, whatever that means. So let's take from the top. I have a wonderful death at some disputed barricade. So he's obviously fighting at this point. That's what I think. He's probably on the battlefield or the war front, more precisely. When spring comes back with rustling shade. I like that image. Again, I'm not I'm not being morbid. I just think it sounds really good. When spring comes back with rustling shade. Spring happens to be my favorite time of the year, personally. And the idea for me is that you can go at any time. No, you never really know when you're gonna go, which is kind of creepy, but also, hey, what are you gonna do about it? We could all go at any time. Just you're walking down the street on a spring morning, and you you vanish, right? Um, that should humble us, I think, because that shows how little control we ultimately exercise over our lives. Which is not to say that you don't. Which is not to say that you become lazy and throw your hands up in the air and say, "Oh well, I'm not gonna shower. I'm not gonna work." Which is sort of a paradox, isn't it? Because you've got to do all the you've got to work hard. You've got to try to be the best person you can be. You've got to um, better yourself. I guess that's being the best person you can be. Uh, you know, there's a lot more to life than waiting to die. So it is kind of paradoxical that ultimately you could just go and all of that you've kind of accomplished means nothing. At least on the surface. But I don't believe that's true at all. Um, why do we do the things we do? Why do we want to be better? Why do we want to be happy, in quote? Why do we want to, you know, write? Write really well? Why do we want to code really well? Why do we want to draw really well? Why do we want to buy things and busy ourselves with the population of the species and all that dramatic stuff? Yeah, I mean, it does mean something. I'm not the best person to answer that. I just think I think there's a wisdom to lurking within that, and it should humble us for sure. Death is humbling because everyone is gonna go at some point. So, yeah, very. It's fascinating how much I like this poem. I have a rendezvous with death. Even the word rendezvous, it's not like, oh, I've got to meet with death. It's like a rendezvous. It's just like, yeah, okay, it's gonna happen. Yeah, at some disputed barricade. Interesting use of words there. When spring comes back with rustling shade, I love spring, like I said, and apple blossoms fill the air. That's just such beautiful imagery. I have a rendezvous with death when spring brings back blue days and fair. Yeah, I mean, who doesn't like spring? Who doesn't like spring? Especially if you've lived through a winter, through like October to February. It's spring is a new morning, new opportunities, new possibilities. It just lights up your heart. So yeah, I like it. What else can we learn about Alan Seeger? Let's see. Wikipedia. Hoppity hoppity hop. I was trying to do some magic sound effects there, but didn't really work out. So Wikipedia, what have you got for me? So he was educated at Harvard. Hmm. So he's smart, apparently, or was smart. So he went to Harvard from 1906 to 1910. Um, Loved France, apparently, hence why he enlisted in the French Foreign Legion. Um, he had a promising poetic career. Yeah, I would say so. He wrote really well based on this piece of writing. Let's Let's see. What else do you have for me? Alan's father, Charles Seeger Sr., would become an influential actor in the late 19th century. Development of Mexico and its relationship with the United States through publishing, infrastructure development, and sugar refining. So his family is quite well-to-do, it seems. Oh, that's okay. That's literally what it's saying. Okay, so Seeger's family was well-to-do. His father was a figure in international commerce throughout his life. Interesting. Upon graduating Harvard, Seeger returned to Manhattan to live primarily in the boarding house at 61 Washington. We don't need to know the address, guys. Come on. Yeah. So Seeger was living on a Rue du Sommerard in Paris in 1914. Okay, so he had moved to Paris around the time the World War started, and he quickly volunteered to fight in the army. He was motivated by his love for France and his belief in the Allies. That amount of passion doesn't exist anymore. I mean, it exists, but it exists for all the wrong reasons. Alright, I think that's enough. Yeah, the poem was called I Have a Rendezvous with Death by Alan Seeger. I liked it. It's what, just 6 lines, and it held my attention. I mean, did I do it justice? I don't even know what that means. It's full of wisdom, a bit of humor. It's a bit humorous to some. Like if you have a dark sense of humor like I do, then there's a humor lurking in there somewhere. Yeah, I liked it, and I hope you enjoyed listening to me ramble on about vanishing. Again, it's not. I didn't talk. I didn't say I was gonna die or I want to die. I said I want to vanish. I guess when you vanish, you can say I want to unvanish. So it's like, oh, my family's crying. Well, they shouldn't be crying because I've just vanished. And then I can unvanish and say, hey guys, I'm back from. Anyway, that was the podcast. Catch you again next week. Bye.